You got a dub. I got a dub. Wins
Oh, yeah.
all around. All around.
Oh,
I'm just now remembering who you won. I have more. Anyway, we'll get there. So I don't understand. Like, guys, I lost in week 1. I showed up on the pod. Justin lost in week 1. Couldn't make it. Noah now takes an L. Can't make it. Let's not make it a habit, okay? That's all I'm saying. We still have jobs, boys. Oh, man. Well, week 2 in the books. Justin, how are you feeling?
I'm feeling great. I got a win. I honestly, I was worried I wouldn't get a win the entire year. I was pretty scared, and then I got a win. My team gave me a little bit of confidence, and then I made a deal.
Then you made some moves. Well, you know what? Let's just start there, because I know everybody that's all they want to hear about. Screw rankings. Let's talk about what happened recently. So 3 hours ago, I'm at practice, get a notification. Trade has been accepted. Now, I won't tell you with who or what, but I got excited because I do have some trade offers floating out there. I have been in talks, obviously. So I was excited. I thought maybe I had gotten something through. No, it was by another team. Okay, open it up, and it's Rome Odunze. Rome Odunze. That's what everyone wants to talk about. Rome Odunze for an 11th pick. And then, okay, so I processed that trade, and then I get another notification. A trade has been accepted. I thought initially it was just like a ghost notification. It was like so fast. It was like back to back. I thought like, oh, I'm just getting the same notification from before. I'm at practice. I'll make sure to check it later. 20, 30 minutes go by, and it's still there, so I open it up, and there's another trade. Patrick Mahomes has left Jacob's roster, and now is on your roster, Justin.
Let's go.
So I want to hear.
He's back home.
He's back. Mahomes is back home. Tell me, how did
I
you do?
I think like three out of the past 5. I told Josh, I think because Josh was over. 3 of the past 5 years, I have traded for Patrick Mahomes at some point during the year.
Are you like? Do you have like some sort of like dirt on Jacob? Like, do you have like some like blackmail you're holding over him? Is there some
No.
deep dark secret that you know that no one else knows? How did this happen? Please explain.
Well, I've obviously been. I knew I needed a quarterback. As soon as I traded Richardson to Santos, I knew I was going to have to trade for a quarterback at some point during the year. And so, yeah, I immediately looked at Mahomes and I was like, oh, he could be a target. His early season schedule might be a little difficult. Then he has a bad week 1, and I'm like, okay, he's a target. But I didn't have anything to offer, so I was like, I can't offer. I didn't even hit Jacob up. I just knew like there was just no way I could get a deal across the finish line. Then week 2 happens, and Patrick Mahomes has an even worse week. So I'm like, okay, well maybe there's an opportunity here. I hit Jacob up, and there was a bunch of players. I was like, hey, I got some interest here in some of your guys. And Jacob was like, well, I'd be interested in dealing with Mahomes. And I was like, okay, well, I need so you're clearly not happy with your quarterback. So that means I need to go get a quarterback because I still don't have a quarterback. So I was like, okay, well, Derek Carr's out there. So let's go get him. So I dropped a lot of fab on him.
Which I thought,
yeah.
by the way, was a great idea. Like, cars look great, schedule's good, fixes the quarterback room. I thought that was a great idea.
And I honestly, like, I would have, if I hadn't been able to get the deal over the line, I was happy with, like, spending a lot of fab on Carr because I'm like taking the shot. Like, that Saints offense has looked really good. It's like, in my head, I'm like, well, Derek Carr has never done. He's never finished above like quarterback 12, I think. But this is a completely different offense, so maybe this is what he's needed. I was okay with it. But obviously, I love Mahomes. He's one of my favorite players. So I was like, I was still a little concerned that Mahomes just may not turn it around this year. but I was like, I have to, if I'm going to make this deal, I have to do it now because if Mahomes is a pretty good matchup this week. He could go off. Derek Carr, if he has one down week, I can't make this deal. Like there's just like there because then everybody's going to be like, oh, he's just
Oh,
the
it's just
same old. It's same old Derek Carr. So like it's now or never. So yeah, I knew I had to put in something else. So Lockett was I gave Jacob a bunch of options and even some pick swaps and then and honestly I didn't hear back from him and then I see the Dunze trade go through and I'm like that's interesting and then I immediately Jacob sends me the trade and so I was like oh okay that's what's going on so yeah I'm happy with it
I bet
I'm a
you are.
little
I'm sure you
like
are.
I texted Jacob I like is I think it's going to be an interesting trade to look back on because like I do think there's a very legitimate chance, and I kind of like I really thought about it. Like there is a legitimate chance that Mahomes could have a real like a down year just because his wide receivers are one of like Hollywood's injured. They're not going to have a great running game with Pacheco down, and Kelsey is not the same guy. Like so, that's a legit. There's a legitimate shot, and there's a legitimate shot that Derek Carr is just going to be amazing under this Clint Kubiak
So,
offense. So
yeah, there's a lot of optics, right? And that's what I'm most excited to talk about. This we'll get to rankings. Listeners, don't worry. Emily, shout out to our number one fan. Don't worry, we'll get to the rankings. But before we get there, there's a lot of optics to this deal, and I think it's a great representation of why we've been doing this show for what 3 years now, Justin. 4 years,
yeah,
3 years, a long time, and I've staunchly been against vetoing deals. Now, normally I'm the one that's pulling off some sort of quote unquote mad caper that everyone's upset about, and because I'm the commish, blah blah blah. But the optics on this deal are in fact twofold. So if you take it at face value, because there are other things I want to talk about with this trade, there's a lot going on here. But if you take it at face value, getting what you think in Jacob getting Carr and Lockett to a certain extent is a receiver he needs to play because he has no receiver depth, zero. He has Tyreek Hill, nobody else, and Lockett should be a consistent like 10 to 12 point guy. And getting what you may believe, you as in Just or Jacob, an upgrade, right? Like Carr is the quarterback one on the year. They
two.
just dismantled or two still. Oh yeah, because Allen's number one, but still they dismantled a very good Cowboys defense. That offense looks phenomenal, and saying, hey, let me see if I can get something for my quote unquote stud quarterback in Patrick Mahomes that isn't performing. There's nothing wrong with that. Now, like Santos's message in the chat immediately was like it was like the perfect comment because you have the majority of people will say, "Oh, like what a boneheaded move." And I might even be one of those people, but I also can see the other perspective of like I'm going to take a shot on a guy that I think could be a great answer quarterback plus I'm getting a receiver I need. So it makes sense to me as much as some people may think it's lopsided or it's crazy. You have to think of all the optics, right? And that's why I want to talk about that because it's like you don't know what someone's thinking. You have a manager who says, "I believe in this. I believe in these players. I believe that I'm winning this trade." Right? No player manager goes into a trade thinking they're losing a trade. No manager accepts a deal thinking they're losing the trade. Right? That doesn't make sense. Like you think you're getting the better end of the trade, and even if optically most of the league members may say otherwise, you got to stick with your guns. So that aside, which is very interesting, and I agree with you. I can't wait to look back on it and be like, did this work out? Maybe you got suckered. Like maybe Mahomes doesn't put it together, and you have a quarterback problem still in 6 weeks, and Carr is just banging it home over and over and over again. Right? That's definitely a possibility within the realm of possibilities. But there's a lot of questions that I have about Jacob around this deal. First of all, if you're not okay with Mahomes, go spend fab on Carr. Like Carr is a quarterback on the waiver wire. Like it's not like you're trading for Dak Prescott, who's sitting on Santos' bench and has never been available, right? Like there are other or Jordan Love because guys got Jaden Daniels doesn't need two quarterbacks, right? You're trading for a guy who was available as of 11 or 10 a.m. this morning. Go submit a claim on him, and if you don't get it, oh man, I put in 12, Justin put in 13. I'm making a deal, right? But if we look at the data, That didn't happen, which is mind-boggling to me. No bid. Okay, that's the Carr half. Let's talk about the Mahomes half. Jacob made a trade with me at the beginning of the draft to move up into the second round. Okay. All right. Great value there. He's going to make a player that he can believe in, he can stand on. Takes Patrick Mahomes as the first quarterback off the board. Not Jalen Hurts, not Josh Allen. Patrick Mahomes traded up to get him, spent a third and a fourth to go find him at the top of the second. To me, that's conviction. Like, I want Patrick Mahomes. I want to make sure I get Patrick Mahomes. He's going to be my guy. And we're selling him down the river week 2 for Derek Carr on the waiver wire. Like, it's crazy. Like, as much as I understand both sides of the trade right now, the surrounding optics are nuts. Am I wrong? Like, tell me I'm wrong. It's insane. It's crazy. I don't understand. Like, that's why I'm more upset about it. Not because I think the trade is quote unquote unfair. I don't really think that at all. Because I can see the other side. But it's like, what are we doing? Like, what are we doing? Am I wrong? Justin, tell me I'm wrong.
I mean, yeah, I mean, I don't think you're wrong. I think it's, yeah, it's, yeah, you just can't, obviously, I don't know what, Jacob's not here, so I can't
Yeah,
say
we'll,
exactly
we'll have to get him
what
on.
he's thinking or not. You know, I think it's completely reasonable. Like, you obviously, at some point, like yes, you do have to kind of just throw draft capital out the window. I think that is something that a trap that managers can fall into. But at the same time, I do sometimes think you need a hold. Like, you took a guy, like, draft capital that does matter to an extent of, like, I spent a fifth round pick on this guy. He's not performing. Like Drake London, I think it's a great example. Like, after week 1, he did nothing. And like, you can easily panic on a guy, but like, I spent a second round pick on him, and
And
it's like,
for you, like a very valuable second round pick because you were missing
yeah.
other picks. Like, this is a
Or
guy
actually,
you
I
were
think an
like,
even better example might be CeeDee Lamb last year. Like, it took him
yeah,
until week 7 to really, he didn't go above like 10, 12 points, if I remember correctly, up until week 7. And like, I was legitimately concerned, but I was like, I spent a first round pick on this dude. Like, I got to give him more time. I think like the more draft capital you spend, I think it's reasonable to give guys longer runway. That's why, like, for some of my guys I drafted at the end, I will cut them week 1, no problem.
sure, sure.
you
And like,
know,
we've talked about managers who maybe hold on to draft capital for too long or tie too much value to like, hey, this was a first round pick. Like, we get out of the draft, that's a player. Like, who cares where you drafted him? I'm just saying, like, the decision to trade up to get him like tells me that's a guy. Like, I would have done that. We talked about a couple weeks ago how I was just so invested in James Cook and I believed in him. I would have done that for James Cook. Like, I would have made that deal because I
mm-hmm.
think James Cook's gonna be the guy. You know what I mean? And then to just be like, my convictions are flipped after week 2 is nuts. I just
Well, I do think, like, in terms of, like, from Jacob's perspective, if I was in Jacob's shoes, like, you look at just the way the Kansas City offense, what's happened to it with the injuries, like, that's new information. You have to react to that. Like, you can't just you,
sure.
you have the same expectation. And then, like, if a guy like Derek Carr is like, obviously the waiver wire thing notwithstanding, like, that's also like a situation where you have to react to new information and that's what everybody's doing right now is
Right.
this Saints offense is completely different. So you can't look at it the same way, and then, there's a possibility that Jacob is buying Derek Carr low because he has not been in a regular game
No,
script where they haven't,
I
like,
agree. No,
that's a possibility.
he's
So,
out of the game midway through the third quarter. They ain't throwing the ball. So I agree with you. I agree with you. Again, like, bare bones without anything extra. I don't really have a problem with the deal. Not that I have a problem with it at all. I'm just saying, like, it's so strange to me. Like it just, like, all the factors just like, ugh. It feels like someone just flying around by the seat of their pants and not actually like having convictions, which is a hard route to take if you're going to trade away a guy like Patrick Mahomes. Like, you got to have a conviction one way or the other.
mhm.
So craziness. So and yeah, and I welcome as league commissioner. Hit me up. These are the perfect kinds of deals that the other 9 managers might think this is crazy. I get it. Like I said, I don't have a problem with it. It's nuts to me, even because of what I think about players. But I understand what the I can see the other perspective. So crazy happening. And I love your team name, by the way, Top Gun Patrick. That's great. It's quality. All right, enough about that insanity. While we're here though, in the chat, waiver wires ran some big names in terms of money spent. Not really names that like are household names yet, but like a lot of money was spent, especially after week 1. And so let's just like I want to kind of read through them. We'll get to the rankings, I promise. Carson Steele is a polarizing figure. I kind of spent more money than I guess I needed to. Although with guys buy on the next person we'll talk about, I'm very happy with what I spent on Carson Steele. But I am curious because I had kind of a change of heart this morning, just watching film, and I like him a lot as a prospect and as someone I think that can be a real contributor. And then as the Pacheco owner, you were the low bid, and also half the league didn't bid on him, which is very interesting. So talk to me, like what are your thoughts? Because I'm already high. Bring me down on Carson Steele.
I mean, for me, I didn't put a really high bid just because number one, I had a guy I had conviction about who we'll get to later. Um, and I just was kind of like, I don't know who it is. To me, P. Ryan was the more likely candidate because in my head, I just think that the Chiefs are going to run less just because they have Patrick Mahomes and they can do that. And Carson Steele might be a nice prospect, but he's not Pacheco. Otherwise, he would have been starting, had a lot more touches with Pacheco. So
Right.
I think they just kind of start abandoning the run, which Andy Reid does a lot of the time. So I was like, I don't really think it's worth it to me. Like, I'll shoot a shot on him if
Sure.
I don't get any of the other guys that I want, But I'm not like super. I don't believe he's going to have a feature role enough to warrant the price that I think he's going to go for. Which I figured he was going to go in the 20-30 range, and I just wasn't willing to pay that.
Sure. Well, that makes sense. um, and then the next guy down. I mean, we won't spend too much time. I think that I'm hoping he steps into it. I really think he does become the feature back. Peyton Hillis esque. I just love how he runs. But we'll see. Really excited to see how that pans out. Braylon Allen is the next big spend at 33, and I love this pickup. I was actually the next highest bid on this pickup. I bid 17 on Braylon Allen because I really like Braylon Allen. And more people bid here. I am curious to see that Mark didn't bid as the Breece Hall owner. He had him on the roster, cut him, trying to make drop roster moves. We all do that. But Braylon Allen gets picked up, and let's talk about it. Tank Dell gets cut. Tank Dell is sitting on our waiver wire, people. Waivers are gonna run Friday. I start work at 11:30 tomorrow. I will be posting this ASAP. I don't care who knows because this is insanity. It's crazy. Jacob trades away he doesn't have space on the roster. He wants to pick up Tyler Lockett. He trades away Roma Dunze for this reason. And guy says, bye-bye. Bye-bye. I don't want draft capital. I don't want extra fab. I don't want anything. I'm not going to ask for offers. I'm not going to put them on. Just get out. And not that Tank Dell has been doing anything. Like, maybe he is a dud. But
Yeah, that's very
he
possible.
has some sort of value right now. No, Justin?
I mean, I would have traded for him probably.
I would have given you a 13th for 50. I would have given you anything. Dude, you're throwing him away? Here, let me move the trash can that is my team in the way. It's crazy.
Yeah, we want to talk about like not giving a player a runway. Tank Dell's a 5th-round pick, and
Just get him out of here. Oh, so
Oh
I'm
goodness,
I'm excited to see the sweepstakes of that particular
that'll be
fiasco.
interesting.
Um, the next highest spend is Quentin Johnston, and there were some good bids out here. I had him on my roster. I cut him in the snipe for Colby Parkinson, which turned out to be a dud. Um, but I think this is a great dart to throw for a team that needs players. Jacob gets gets the win here. But yeah, a lot of money because now. Do you want to talk more about Quentin Johnston? I mean, I think he
No,
could be
I
the
mean
number
not
one guy.
really. We can
I
just
just
roll
don't.
through these waivers, I think.
You don't want to see Chuba Hubbard for 17?
Yeah, what are we talking about? No, I was. Yeah, I clearly overbid, but to be honest with you, like I was somewhat okay with it. I was like, I want Chuba Hubbard on my roster. I don't
Yeah.
care how much I spend. He's going on the roster because I have no running backs, and I feel like out of all the running backs on the waiver wire, he's the one who's going to have the most secure workload. So
Oh,
there we go.
there you go. Yeah, then Arresta kind of, shooting shots. I love how a Green Bay wide receiver was cut and a Green Bay wide receiver was picked up. So we'll see how that works. It's good stuff all around. Josh Kobayashi's trying to find some sort of depth. He picks up Donta Foreman, drops Alvin Cook. That was never happening. All right.
I
Let's
just
move.
want to. I think it's quite funny. A lot of these guys were on your roster at one point,
Yeah.
and they get dropped, and then the amount of money that's been spent on guys that were formerly on your roster.
Like I don't know what to do, man. I don't know what to do. Like I
Let's
can't
see,
hold
Chuba
30
Hubbard
people.
17,
Yeah.
Quentin
Quentin
Johnston
Johnston
20,
20.
Tyler Lockett
11.
11.
I don't know what to do. I drafted too well, and I couldn't get. I tried trading these people. I asked people if they wanted them, and they said no, and I cut. Anyway, it's frustrating.
One
I
week
see
too early, man. 1 week too early.
1 week too early. Like I gotta make moves too. So at least
So
you guys
let's
are,
see,
cause
Colby Parkinson next week. It'll be pretty good.
yeah, yo, guy might be picking him up this Friday. Man doesn't have a tight end still. Oh man. All right. Let's get to the rankings. Let's
Yes, on the
dive
main
in.
event.
Okay. So, at number 12, who would have thought it? We agree. It's you and me this week. Noah doesn't have rankings in. Consensus between the two of us, it's Jacob. Jacob's team is at 12. I would have put him here before the trade, if I'm being
Yep,
perfectly
before as
honest with
well.
you. This is not a reaction to the Mahomes trade, so Jacob, please don't hear that. I think that move is fine. But zero receiver depth, literally none. The running backs are starters, but they're not exciting. Like they're gonna get you 10 to 12. Maybe one of them falls into the end zone, like Singletary this week. Tight end's a disaster, and quarterback hasn't been paying out. Also, Tua got hurt, so Hill's it's a mess. It's a nightmare.
Yep. We have no idea when Tua's going to come back.
Yeah, and I mean, I have no faith in Skylar Thompson to run this offense. I think that Hill will be a fine play in terms
He's
of
going
like
to
a
get
solid
targets.
floor, but he's not going to be the win you a week guy while Tua's out, which is very frustrating. So Jacob's at 12. So there you go. At 11. Oh, Jacob drop of 2, by the way. Was that 10 last week? Drop of 2. At 11, it's Sam. Sam drops 2 as well, and talk me through. You have him a little more further down than me, so go ahead, talk to me about it.
Yeah, I think with Sam, it's just injuries, man. I mean, it's so rough because the squad we obviously ranked it highly to start, but
You
when
guys.
you're hey, we all consensus was high. All three of
That's true.
us, you might have had him a little lower, but it was
I had him a
still
little lower.
consensus.
True. You talked me into picking him up because I had him at like 6 at one point. And you guys were like, no, come on, and you talked
Because
me.
the roster, I mean, when your first two picks go down to injury, like that's difficult to recover from. That being said, I think the roster, like Devontae Adams, has been better than I think we expected.
Yep.
which is good. Jaden Reed, Jordan Love is potentially coming back this week.
Yeah, that would be a
Still think
huge
it's a
deal.
long shot, but for sure I think he'll be back next week, which I think is big for Jaden Reed. Um, Laporta's been underperforming a little bit, which isn't great, and running backs are not great. So, but Burrow gets Washington this week, so
Yeah, Burrow
bounce
gets
back.
Washington. If Higgins can play, that would be a huge boon. Even if just or if Sam doesn't play Higgins, like if it's unsure, he has to play somebody else. Helping Burrow pop off, I think will be very helpful, and it'll also be good to see if Higgins can run around or if he's just being a decoy. But yeah, Washington is a juicy, juicy matchup, and Sam has lucked out into a Kenneth Walker injury, which has allowed him to stay floating at running back. Like Charbonnet has
Mm-hmm.
not played well. If you've watched Seattle, he actually isn't very efficient, doesn't look good, but he's also going to get 20 touches a game, and that turns into solid, consistent fantasy production. So, um, staying float. Hey, got the win last week. Good for you, Sam.
Every win you can get when your squad is injured is huge because it just buys you time.
Yeah. It'll make the squeeze less come trade deadline as well. All right, at number 10, it's you, my man. It's you. It's Justin. He's a
We're on the rise.
rise of one. We're making a comeback,
Two,
baby.
two.
No, you were at 12 last week, pal.
Yeah,
You
so
were at 12
two.
last week. I'm looking at the rankings.
Yeah, so I went from
Oh, you're at
12
2.
to
You're
10.
raised at 2. You're right. You're at 10. You're at
Yes,
10
you
now.
said one, and I was like,
You're
oh,
my
come on.
apologies. You're at yep, raise of 2. I still have you at 11. That's the problem.
It's
That's
just
where I'm good.
ridiculous. Ridiculous.
I just don't like your team.
Well, of course, because it's not the way we stylistically are pretty different. So
Very different. And then like brother, like I cut Chuba and then didn't put a bid on him for a reason.
I think y'all are
uh,
sleeping on him a little bit, though.
I think Andy does help. Andy Dalton helps the offense a little bit. Um, I think just to like have more productive drives, even if they don't score more points, like you'll have more opportunity. But like Gus Edwards has had so many carries and has been a horrible.
Yeah, he's been
He
bad, but he's still going to get
he
so many
gets
carries, and
so
at
many. He
some
had
point,
18
guess
carries.
how many carries the Chargers have had within the 5 yard line?
0.
Yeah, guess how many carries they've had within the 10 yard line?
Oh God, 0.
Two.
2.
At at so, at some point, they're going to get carries within the 5 and more than 10, and Gus Edwards is going to fall into the end zone, and I'm going to be happy.
He's gonna score. He's just
And if he falls into the end zone, all right. So Pacheco scoring for me had scored no more than 13 and a half points. If he falls, Gus Edwards falls in the end zone, he's gonna have 13 points.
um, yeah, it's just comical. Yeah, I love how I love how stylistically you're right. We build our teams differently. You have just as many running backs on your team as me.
But I have more top end wide receivers. That's the point.
That's
That's the
true.
stylistic. That's
Yeah, it's
stylistic
true.
difference.
That's true. I'm hoping London can put it together. The last drive of that game was encouraging. Maybe our Cousins can focus that drive and the drive before. I think. Ridley, I think is going to be a boomer bust play. I think he's a fine wide receiver too. To Jamar Chase, who's in your flex, and I think Chase is
Gets
just gonna.
washed.
Yeah, I think Chase against Washington this week is gonna tell everyone, hey, remember I still can play football. It's been
He was
bad.
very angry last game.
Yeah,
Use that, Chase.
yeah, target him. But otherwise, yeah, I hate the bench. But here we are. Moving on. This is at 10. Bryn's at 9. I might have him high. I don't know. Let me see.
Dude, this team is bad.
Well, okay,
7
I think
above Santos, above
I
Josh.
don't
I
like
don't know.
Santos' squad. I like this guy's starting
Okay,
lineup.
okay.
Like Hurts, B. Rob,
There's
White,
no
Waddle,
depth.
Pickens. Yeah, no, the bench is a wasteland. Jerry Judy's been kind of good, sorta.
Brent has the second least amount of points for it. I'm not like it's not
Dude,
like the starting lineup's that great.
yeah, like on paper. If Rashad White is out, though, what is he doing? It's quorum time. Get him in there. This is a guy I tried to trade Chuba to, and he said no. I'm like, I was like, you need running back depth.
In
No,
all fairness, you tried to trade Chuba off a 1.7 point game.
he was the starting back. I know I tried to trade him before the season started. I was trying to trade him like off the rip, dude. I tried to trade Jordan Mason to Sam before the season started. He wasn't having it. Thank you, Sam. Just to be honest, like I was trying to make moves, but yeah, Brin's bench is a disaster. Justin, I think the biggest concern though here, Justin, is that Tucker has missed 50s. What are we
Yeah,
doing?
I think I saw a statistic. He's actually like from 50 plus. His accuracy is at 14%, which makes him one of the worst long distance kickers in the league.
He's missed
I,
his
I don't
last
know if that's correct,
7
but
kicks beyond 50. That's a nightmare.
eeh.
So 2 kickers, no rings, more like 0 kickers, no hope. Okay, moving on. It's Santos at 8. Dude, I don't like this team. I don't like it. You can't make me like it. Richardson is gonna be a roller coaster all year,
Yep.
and I think Green Bay just told everyone how to beat him this last
Mm-hmm.
week.
Play man
Um,
coverage.
don't worry, he's got Dak Prescott, but wait, Prescott hasn't been good. Like I'm happy about 13 points.
I'm not
Maybe he
worried
turns
about
around.
Dak Prescott.
Derrick Henry has not been good. He had 18 run. I guess he should be better in games that they're winning, but their
They're not
upcoming
winning.
matchups are Dallas, Buffalo, Cincinnati. Like those aren't games that you're just gonna steamroll. Week 6, power up Derrick Henry. Watch out. I'm not playing Santos. I probably am now that I say that. Wait, hold on. Let me go to week 6. I'm horrified. Oh, I'm not. Oh, thank God. I'm just playing Mark. So much better. Anyway.
Yes, just a very good
Anyway.
team.
Anyway. ETN has been super inefficient, but the Jags offense in general has been very inefficient. So
Tank Bigsby now hurt, so fire
yeah,
up the workhorse ETN.
ETN. Diggs is gonna be hot and cold. Uh, Terry McLaurin is a disaster. Godwin's been great pick there. Andrews is being bracketed all day. Stevenson has looked good. I feel like he had a good game this last week. He did. So Stevenson's been a nice pickup. And then the bench sucks. Like I don't know why you like this more than like if we're talking starting rosters, I think I take Brins over this.
I mean, like I think Bryn like has more potential maybe, but Santos's squad is actually performing better. Like Godwin is the wide receiver one right now. Like that's how good he's playing. The running backs like Stevenson's playing well. Like Henry and Etienne are doing amazing for what they should be, but they're still putting up points. So like there's nobody, it's not like other than Godwin, like nobody on the roster like scares you, but they're gonna put up like 8, 10 plus. And the sum of that is what's gonna get him wins. Unfortunately hasn't gone. He's been the unluckiest manager so far.
He has been
Uh,
unlucky.
on the by, by kickers both weeks. Jeez. Uh,
Kicker
death by field
supremacy,
goal.
dude, it's a thing. Kicker supremacy is a thing. I'm not joking. It is real.
Yeah, that's thus far it certainly has been a thing. Um, so yeah, I think the roster's like sneaky good. Like I don't think anybody would point to this roster and be like, oh, I love this roster, but it's like kind of performing, and that's why I mean I don't have them super high, but that's why I have them higher than like Bryn, for example, because Bryn has maybe more potential, but it's not performing to that potential right now. So
Yeah, we're all within one on this one.
mhm.
All right. Well, that's number 8. Drop of 3, by the way, for Santos. Brutal. Number 7, it's Josh Kobayashi. Return of the Jockins Trap, starting Allen Montgomery Pollard, who's been a bright spot, Jefferson Ayuk. Pitts is still Pitts. Olave can't get it done. Moody's great. Bench is garbage. Oh, there is no one on the bench. Okay. Bench is empty. All right. Like, wow. Yeah. Justin Jefferson, yay, I guess. I don't
I mean,
like
Justin
any.
Jefferson, Allen, and is it pretty good?
And
Tony
I,
Pollard,
I
Ayuk. Now
suppose.
that Debo's out,
I don't think that's gonna matter. I really don't think that's gonna matter. Like Josh is happy about that. I really don't think it's gonna matter. Like all Samuel was doing was taking coverage away from Ayuk. Like that's all he was doing when he was on the field. Like now he's just gonna have more attention. He's not gonna become better. I don't know what you want. Matchup is good
well,
this week though.
we know that the 49ers, they game plan around certain players, and now Kyle's gonna have to game plan around him because he doesn't have Debo.
And and like I said, the matchup is good. Los Angeles Rams can't cover anyone apparently. So yeah, I'm not excited though. I just don't like. I don't like it. I don't like it. And Pitts is not good. Like Pitts scored a touchdown week 1. Whoop de doo. Like good. I'm glad he was the not. And the. I mean, tell me you like someone on the bench, Justin. Anyone?
Yeah, no.
I'm just scrolling and he's trying to get excited about someone. He's like, what? No. What? No. It's bad. It's not
I was gonna
good.
say Leggett, but then I remembered that they put Mingo in over Leggett
Yes. What I don't
recently, so I was
get.
like, which I didn't get because he looked good week 1.
Yeah.
I thought he was the best receiver on the field week 1 for the
Yes.
Panthers, and then they're like, no, let's not use him.
Yeah. I don't.
And therein is the Panthers.
So there you go. They're going for the number 1 pick, and they're by golly they're gonna get
Oh yeah,
it. So
let's go, boys.
Speaking of Josh's, it's Kestner. Josh Kestner comes in at 6. Marvin Harrison is here. He's
Oh
alive.
boy.
Amon-Ra St. Brown came back to what we believe was true. I mean, maybe not the biggest game ever, but still a good game for him. B-Rob has been a revelation at running back. Great late round pick. Kittle should benefit, I think, from Debo being out.
Oh yeah, big time.
And this squad has Kenneth Walker and AJ Brown coming back from injury. So I think Kestner is a prime candidate for someone to rise up the rankings once he gets healthy.
Mm-hmm.
Because again, other than those two guys, I don't really like his bench at all. McLaughlin, Caleb Williams, Marshawn Lloyd, who just went on IR, Odunze, and Colts receivers don't thrill me. But hey, we're getting dubs with Koo, who's now off the roster. Can you imagine? Your kicker wins you the week, and then you kick him to the curb. Brutal. And Trevor Lawrence is not. There's no quarterback on this roster either. So I think that's going to hold him back. Tell me something I haven't already said.
No, I think to me that this Kestner kind of represents a tier break from the rest of the teams that we've talked about. To me, this from here on out, these are much better teams. So like I think I'd be feeling pretty good about my roster if I were Kestner right now because your wide receivers are amazing. You've got Kenneth Walker. Once he's healthy, he's a dependable running back. And then, you can rotate Jalen Warren, Brian Robinson. Like, we've had so many teams win championships without RB2s. Like, you just need one and a great wide receiver core, and you can win a championship with that. That works.
I think B-Rob is lock and loaded the rest of the year. Like,
really?
Yeah, I do. I really do.
Okay.
I think that
oh my goodness, he had a great week too.
Yeah, I think the threat of Jaden Daniels is opening up the box for him. He can also catch out of the back, and Eckler is getting work enough where it's like not automatically a run, and he looks great. I don't know if you watch any Commander football. I think like if I had B-Rob, I'm literally locking him in my lineup rest of the year, unless the matchup is just like horrendous run defense, which they shouldn't find till maybe like week 8 Chicago, week 10 versus Pittsburgh. Let him ride. Let him ride. He's gonna be fine.
I know I don't understand Kestner's waiver wire stretching quarterback. I thought for sure I was going to be bidding against Kestner, and then he only put $2 in. Like I can't be feeling good about the quarterbacks on my roster.
No, and maybe this is something that I alluded to Jacob maybe doing. is like maybe he's trying to get one of these other teams that have a solid backup quarterback.
Yeah, that's true. He's got the
And
trade ammunition to do it.
right, and hey, if I can snatch a car, but I don't want to spend a lot of money, it makes sense. There's options for
Mm-hmm.
him. I mean, heck, he could probably just trade for Patrick. Oh wait. Anyway,
I mean, I'm open for business, but
speaking
I will
of,
say I really love him, so it costs a lot.
you gotta blow Justin's socks off. All right, moving on. And we're in lockstep, by the way, for all you listeners, all 10 of you. Justin and I agree. 6 through 1, we agree on all of
Exact
them.
same thing.
We came in separately. We ranked them and said, "Hey, wait, hold on a second. I like what you're thinking." So at 5, it's me, a rise of 6, baby. Let's go. And Justin, tell me why you like this team, because I know
Well,
you do.
I will say, first of all, last week's ranking of your team to me was egregious. I don't know. I know you didn't put up a lot of points, but I would have felt really good about my team coming out of week 1. Like, all the underlying metrics were fantastic for your team. So it was very clear this is not a bad team.
Yeah, well, I mentioned it on the pod that I like my whole squad were players I would have tried to go buy low on because
I
I
know your
liked all.
entire team was a
Yeah.
buy low. Like,
Yeah.
everything looked amazing.
Yeah.
So 11 was like, are you kidding? No, that's ridiculous. So yes, so it's not a surprise that you're here at 5 at all, because it was a good team. And like, you essentially got Christian McCaffrey like on your squad.
Pretty
You just
much.
added it. So yeah, that's, I mean, maybe not quite Christian McCaffrey,
Not
but
quite.
pretty close.
Yeah.
So like, Jordan Mason obviously is huge for the team. Losing Debo is not great, and the wide receiver core is bad.
That's the question mark. Yep. I have a whole bunch
Bad.
of like hopefuls, but no. Like I really liked what I've seen out of Brian Thomas.
Yeah.
Everybody else in the squad is like I have put someone else in my wide receiver 2 spot this week. Like every day I'm like, "Oh, maybe I'll play Deion. Well, maybe I'll play Kia." Like I don't know. I'm trying to get one. I'm trying. You know who you are. I've sent out offers. I'm trying to fix this.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, the receivers are a problem. But the
running backs are good. Quarterback, tight end, you'd be hard pressed to find a better combination. So yeah, the squad is good. I don't think I think as we go through the year, the depth will be called into question. But the starting roster is fantastic. Well, apart from wide receiver. So
there you go.
yeah.
And just as there was a tier break to Kestner, and then there was a tier break to the rest of 5, in my opinion, now we have another tier break.
I don't know about that.
Oh, you don't know about that?
I don't know about that.
I think that Kessler and I both occupy our own tier, because I think the top 4 teams are much better than ours. But you're not so sure. Well, let's talk about it.
Not so sure.
At 4, it's Guy, and you don't think like I
have concerns with Guy's team.
Okay, so let's read it through. It's Daniels, JT, Spears. Wait, hold on. Oh no, Mixon is out. CeeDee Lamb, Malik Neighbors, Evan Ingram's out. Well, he doesn't have a tight end. J-Mo's good. Bucker CV or whatever. Love. I like Braylon Allen. I like Bucky Irvin. Obviously, Mixon should be back, if not this week, next week. Cooper Kupp, they decided it won't go on IR, I think, which is big.
May not.
Jalen Nailor's whatever. So you don't talk to me, because I think this, like, running back depth in terms of like who to start at running back this week is a concern, but like he's got players everywhere else.
Yeah. So I have some, like, Jaden Daniels. I think he's gonna be hot and cold. Same thing with Richardson. And like, I think Jordan Love is gonna be kind of hot and cold as well, because he's a pocket passer. Running backs like JT, I think, will also kind of be hot and cold. Obviously, CeeDee Lamb is great, and Malik Neighbors is going to be hot and cold because the Giants are bad. Um, so until Cup gets back, like it's just a bit of a question mark, I think. Flex should be fine. I think that he's got good options for flex and tight end. I'm concerned about the Jags in general. Um, so like to me, like Guy's team has more depth than like say your team, but I like your starting like some of
Hmm.
your top end players much more than I like Guy's. And to me, the trajectory of this team is not good. Like yours is definitely trending up. Guy's has kind of just been trending down this entire time.
Hmm.
So to me, like I lump you, Kessner, and Guy in a tier,
Oh, in the same tier.
in the same tier, and then I had the top three as like a different tier.
Okay.
And then yeah, it's a questionable management move. So I'm I'm worried.
Tank Dell would have like. I mean, this would have helped this roster a ton more than Jalen Naylor.
I don't
What?
doesn't make sense. But here we are, and yeah, I don't know. Like to me, like bold prediction, like if my team finds footing close to like 500, I don't think Guy makes the playoffs. I think the trend is bad. The vibes are bad.
Wow. Wow. Well, you heard it here, folks. Justin thinks Guy doesn't make the playoffs. I'm misquoting you, and I'm rolling with it. All right, moving on. It's it's Well, let's talk about the top three because they are good. Number three is Ken Grenfell, Saquon Barkley, Kyron Williams, Devontae Smith, Rashid Rice. Ooh.
Very
Baker
nice.
Mayfield. Hold on now. QB1.
QB1.
QB1. Had a rush. You see his rushing touchdown this week? Little moxie, little scamper. Oh, it was phenomenal. Um, Flex is great. Rashid Shaheed, Pittman, Mooney. I like that Mooney pickup. I think the biggest question about his roster is he has Chase Brown as his RB3, and that's it. There's no other running back on the team. There's his top two guys and Chase Brown. So hopefully those guys don't get hurt, or else we're in trouble. And Ferguson is coming back. What was his? Farm used to
Yeah, I
try
think
and
he'll be
fill
back this week.
in. Yeah. So nice job, Ken. It's looking up. You got what should be an easy win against Santos or Justin this week. Don't screw it up.
I don't know
Don't
about that.
don't mess it
I'm
up.
here for upsets.
Oh, dude, another optic is like Jacob loses to you and then gives you his quarterback. It's like you won him in Conquest. I know. Anyway, anything else you want to talk about, Kansas City?
uh, yeah, I think that like I like a lot of these players. Devontae Smith is going to be fantastic.
Yeah, he's gonna be
Oh,
so
AJ
good.
Brown is out. Rashid Shaheed, I was so bummed when Ken took him. I don't know when did he take him?
Late.
He, pick 11-10. I was going to take him, I think, with the 1201. That was the plan. I was super high on him, and then he took him, and Shaheed has been fantastic and will probably continue to be fantastic because he and Carr have a connection.
Yeah, they have something. Yeah.
Um, Barkley has been fantastic, and like honestly, like I don't like. Is there another running back that you would rather have other than Saquon Barkley right now?
No.
Yeah,
Nope.
that's like you could maybe
James Cook.
Brees.
James Cook.
Yeah,
Yes.
maybe. Yeah, you're a little
James Cook has
biased,
been
but
is awesome. But yeah. But no, I love Barkley. I don't know where I had him as my running back 4, I think, in the draft, and that was too low apparently because my golly, um,
yes,
so good.
he looks amazing. So yeah, yeah, I like Ken's team. I think, and I think he's got some interesting depth pieces. So yeah, I don't know. I could be talked into maybe moving him down a tier, but I think it's right now I have him in the top three. I think like as a tier. But
Crazy end of his game versus Guy, by the way. just absolutely bonkers. So he's down like a point, and the Eagles are marching, and it looks like they're going to be able to. If it's like a 3rd and 4 with a minute left to go, they're going to be able to hand the ball off. And if Barkley gets the first down, they can kneel it out, which won't be enough for Ken to win. Like Ken needs a full point, and Barkley gets like 6 yards. It won't be enough. They throw it to Barkley. He's wide open in the flat. That would be enough to win the game because if he catches the ball and gets 5 yards, it's a point. But Barkley drops the ball. But because he dropped the ball, the Eagles kick a field goal, who Ken also has. So Ken gets the field goal, and then the Eagles lose the game. It was like this crazy, like, what's happening? So yeah, good for you, Ken. 2-0. All
I
right.
did just realize that he has 3 Eagles.
Yeah. Well, I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah. Okay, so
kicker.
I'm gonna lump all 4 of you guys in one tier, and then the top tier I did.
It's his kicker. Like, come on. Like, but the running back receiver, yeah, caps his upside. Okay. Going to 2, there is a change. Ken, by the way, up 1 spot. Noah down 1 spot at 2 after the brutal loss that he just took. Absolute smackdown. Okay. Beat down. And he gets kicked out of the number 1 spot because we finally saw that this team may have some concerns, i.e. receivers, i.e. tight end.
Maybe. It's
Uh,
possible.
very possible. Kelsey has not been worth the 210 thus far and has played more snaps per game than he had all last season. Super concerning. Mike Evans is a hot and cold train. That's just how he plays. Like, he's going to get the big play or he's not. And he's worth obviously playing. But as an Evans owner, and I love Evans, this is going to happen, the 5-point game. They just sprinkle in. Garrett Wilson, for whatever reason, got less targets this week than he did last week, and they won the ball game. So, because I don't know. I don't know. Like, that's concerning to me. And DJ Moore and the Bears offense is atrocious. The Bears offense is poop. Caleb Williams, as thus far, has not been good, and DJ Moore has been getting open a ton, as you can see with his targets, and not being able to come down with them because they're just uncatchable balls. For some reason, too, the Browns ran out D'Onta Foreman more than Jerome Ford this week. I don't know why, but that's now a thing. So yeah, some concerns here for Noah, with a team, with Achane, Gibbs, and Stroud that should be good. Am I missing something?
No, I think the team has showed stuff in week 1. How many points did he score in week 2?
100.
Yeah, and that was
104.
that's a down week to me for Noah. So that's where I'm like, this team is fine. Because if a down week is 104, that's pretty darn good. Like, Evans and Wilson didn't do much of anything, other than Kelsey. Neither did DJ Moore, and you still put up 104. Like, that's.
Well, Achane blew up, and Kyami Fairbairn won the kicker battle. I was actually kind of annoyed.
Kicker supremacy.
Kicker supremacy! You say, dude,
Yes.
Brandon Aubrey is the 13th overall player on the year, by the way. Brandon Aubrey, he's number 13 overall. So it's real. Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm not worried. I think the squad is good, and you're gonna have hot and cold, and if cold is 104, I take that. I think that's a good team.
Absolutely. Well, speaking of a team that doesn't understand what cold is, let's talk about Mark. Mark's the number 1, jump of 2. Mark aptly understood where he should be coming out of week 2. Said, "Hey, where are the last week's rankings? Because I gotta know how much I'm rising." In the chat, because this team is gas, and he's got depth, he's got starters, he's got everything. This team is in a league of its own, personally.
Yep.
Lamar Jackson, Breece Hall, Alvin Kamara, Nico Collins, and then you pick Zay Flower, DK Metcalf, Jackson Smith, and Jigba, all good. You just pick one you want. You're going to get your 15. You pick one. James Conner, by the way, the RB3, and he's got Dobbins on the bench because you can't play him because he has 3 other running backs you can play. It's insanity. How about tight end? Brock Bowers is a revelation at the position, and Isaiah Likely is going to be
Name me a
fine for
tight
7
end
to
that you
10.
would rather have than Brock Bowers.
Trey McBride, but that's the only one. It's the only one.
I would rather have Brock Bowers over Trey McBride.
Really? That's wild.
Oh, yeah.
I just
I
think
would.
that Trey is
Let's
tied to a
put it
better
this way.
offense.
Brock Bowers, there's only one other guy you would put over Brock Bowers, and Brock Bowers has only started 2 games in the NFL.
That's true. That is true. He's going to be a stud all year.
And the Raiders are throwing a ton.
Yeah. And he looks it. And they're incorporating him. Like, he is getting designed looks. Like, they know they drafted him at 13 overall, and by golly, they're going to show you why. Because he's a good freaking football player.
Hasn't scored a touchdown yet.
Doesn't need to. Just a stud.
Gets Carolina this week.
Bye, Santos. Get ready for 0-3, pal. It's brutal. Like, this team, there's no holes. Justin, there's no holes, and there's a bench. There's a bench. I even like Khalil Shakir. I like all these guys.
Yep. Yeah, Tyler Johnson, you probably could have dropped for, say, Braylon Allen, but
sure,
I'm
sure.
I'm fine with it.
Yeah. Craziness. Mark, good job, dude. Good job. Drafted really well.
Yeah.
A little peek behind the curtain. Mark and I were on the phone maybe a week before the draft. And I was like, hey, you excited? He was like, yeah. And he was like, honestly, I don't ever mock. I just shoot off the hip. I just get in there and take who I like. And I was like, I wish I was as good as fantasy football as you. Because if I don't mock, I don't put it together. But he's just in there like guns blazing. Give me my Ravens. I don't care. I'm going to be the best team in the league. Yeah, highest scoring team. Alvin Kamara's and the Saints offense. They're going to be good all year, I think. It's just crazy. Just crazy. Oh, well, there you go. So 12-1, Jacob, Sam, Justin, Bryn, Santos, Josh, Kessner, Luke, Guy, Ken, Noah, and Mark are the rankings. And, yeah, exciting week of football. You want to do a matchup of the week?
Sure, let's do it.
It's too early for that.
Let's do
matchup of the week. Oh, they're all blowout. I think it's me and Sam because I think it's going to be close.
No, I would say it's Kessner and Josh.
Kessner and Josh.
The Josh Bowl. It has to be the
Josh Bowl. Yo, we get 2 Josh Bowls this year. Yes. Josh Bowl. All right, pick it. I pick Kessner.
Ooh. I actually think
even with Walker out, because I don't think Walker plays.
I think I'm gonna take Josh because I think Josh Allen destroys Jacksonville.
You think Josh Allen be Josh Allen in the Josh Bowl? Allen comes on top over Allen, the quarterback over the
Yeah,
so many Joshes.
I think Allen annihilates the Jacksonville Jaguars. I think Ayuk shows up because they don't have Debo. I think Olave shows you why he's a good wide receiver against that atrocious Philadelphia secondary, and yeah, I think that'll be enough to put him over the edge. Oh, and he's got the best defensive matchup. The Browns versus the Giants is too good.
Oh, yeah, it's gonna be good. That's going to be really good. Yo, the Browns defense, man. They get the Giants, then Vegas, then Washington. The next 3 matchups. Yummy. All right, well, match of the week, Josh Bowl. Go Josh. I think Josh wins and Josh loses. There you go.
And Josh plays well.
Josh Allen is going to dominate. Whether that's throwing passes or getting sacks, I don't know. But Josh Allen is going to just destroy. And also suck.
That's right. There's a Josh Allen on the other side of the field.
That's what I'm saying. They have a DN Josh Allen. It's Josh Allen v. Josh Allen in the Josh v. Josh Bowl. It's fantastic. Josh squared. Gonna be a fun one. All right, let's get out of here. I have too many Joshes. All right. Adios, everybody. It was a good time. Adios. That was a good one. We had fun. That was a fun one. Oh, man.